Doc Rivers set to make his debut as Bucks head coach. Who was snubbed as an all-star? And Kwab and I give you our power rankings next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime with Josh and Kwab. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back as nominees for Best Basketball Podcast at the Sports Podcast Awards. Give it up for us. Give it up for us, all 15 of you listeners.
We appreciate you. We appreciate y'all. We did it.
I don't know how we did it. Listen, just truth be told, I got a DM from somebody who said they really liked our podcast. Like, listen, your show is dope. I'm going to give you a promo code to waive the fee to basically submit to this award show. Submitted, waited 2 months, then we got an email back saying, hey, congratulations, you're nominated for Best Basketball Podcast with the likes of JJ Redick and Draymond Green. So, shout out to us, Kwab.
That's pretty dope. And also big shout out to you, Josh, because I always say this podcast has been your baby from the start for a long time. And I know a lot of work you put in that a lot of people don't know behind the scenes. So even getting this nomination is like, to me, I was so happy for you, mostly than just myself. So like, hey, shout out to you, shout out to us, shout out to The Dime, and shout out to all the listeners.
Definitely. If you want to follow The Dime, you can on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Dime NBA. You will find actually a link in our profiles where you can go vote for The Dime to be the best basketball podcast. If you are watching for the first time and you like us a lot, go vote for us. If you've been listening for a long time and you like us a lot, go vote for us. If you don't, whatever. Also, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get those numbers up. I know Kwab and I have been gone for a little bit, but that's just because of health reasons, movement, like just a bunch of things have happened. And we're not going to bore you.
It's been a crazy holidays, but we're gonna try to get back and be more consistent.
We'll just leave it at that. And Kwab, I think it's time for us to get straight into headlines. Let's do this. All right, this is headlines where Kwab and I determine if these headlines, they're fake, are fake news or real news. Now, they're not real headlines. They're headlines that I make up off the top of my head, but are they real news or are they fake news? Kwab, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, headline number 1, All-Star starter snubs. Curry and Jalen done dirty. Is this real or fake news? Answer the question.
It's in between, like
in between news. I've never heard anyone complain about the media. So you know what I hate about the media? It's a very in between news.
It's in between news. It's never like real stuff. It's like there is some truth in there, but there's also some fiction. You know what I mean? Like, it happens. It's the all-star starters. It's not all-star overall. Like, I believe those two players are going to end up being all-stars. Now, I saw a lot of, I say more because, granted, I'm on the East Coast and I have a lot of like Knicks, Sixers, more like East Coast friends that I follow. So I saw a lot of like backlash with Jalen Brunson not being an all-star starter or Tyrese Maxey not being an all-star starter. And I'm like, hey, the fan vote counts for 50%. You like it's a factor.
Where were y'all?
It's a factor.
Knicks Twitter, where were you this whole time? Complaining about the team, complaining about Tom Thibodeau,
like
about Julius Randle.
When Candace says something about Jalen Brunson, or even
we formed like Voltron. And no one voted for him. We all went to defend him without voting for him. This is our fault. Just
spend the time and like when it's like, oh, your vote counts for 3. Hit that vote, and maybe it would help. But on the other side of it, though, I do understand some of the frustration is that anytime Jalen Brunson is kind of mentioned in like regular in sports media or even like on TNT, it always seems to be negative. He doesn't usually get the same like positive attention that like the Tyrese Halliburton was getting when they were making that the play and run and so forth afterwards. It always feels like the narrative has been, oh well, he's too small. Like, we don't know if he's a 1A. Right. That's the type of like, so maybe the casual fan who doesn't really know how good he is or how good the Knicks are won't take the time, won't put him on the list and vote for him, which is understandable. Also, Knicks fans are crazy, so maybe the casual fan is like, I don't want to do this because I don't like Knicks fans because they scare me. So I don't.
That might be
factor into it.
They might hate us.
Yeah, I could factor into it.
I'm going to say this is. I'm going to say this is fake news because this is a fan vote, right? So if the fans voted for this, this is what the fans want. So it can't be fake news. This is what they want.
Yeah.
Knicks fans, if you wanted Jalen, you should have voted for him. I do think he's underrated, though. He gets talked about, like, you know how, like, a really athletic white boy, like, they're like, oh, yeah, well, he has some, like, sneaky athleticism. That's how Jalen gets talked about, and like, with different words, obviously, because he's not sneaky athletic, but it's almost like, oh, I'm surprised he's pretty good. But then they don't put him at the level that he should be at, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, oh, he's okay. Like, it's not that bad. Like, he's good. Yeah, he's better than I thought he was. I don't think people realize how good Jalen Brunson is.
Yeah.
I mean, he, in my mind, I don't have lists in my head. I'm not the type of person to be like, top 10 players in the league. But he's, if I'm going to, like, go off the top of my head, I think you can arguably put him in the top 20 for sure.
Easy. 100%. Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So I think, Jalen's coming out party is still kind of happening. I think he's going to have to make more noise in the playoffs. And with Candace Parker's comments, I'm not going to rag on her too much. I think she's a professional. I think she's fantastic at what she does, first of all. So shout out to Candace Parker. I think sometimes as an analyst, like, either A, you forget things. So, like, you have to recall something from the playoffs that happened last year. Or B, just like, you just didn't know. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're casual, you're this, you're that. And yeah, she's national media and all that stuff, but she's also a WNBA player. Like, she has another career on the side. This is her second career. Let's not get it twisted. This is like number 2 on our list. Number 1 is being a WNBA player. And 2, like, I'm not comparing the Knicks to, like, these teams, but, like, I'm not watching, like, Hornets Magic on a Tuesday to know everything. Do you get what I'm saying? And I get that it's the playoffs, but, like, not everybody is going to remember every narrative from every playoff series ever. Like, what happened with the T-Wolves last year? Can someone tell me off the top of their freaking head, like, who played well and who didn't? Can you tell me off the top of your head, like, what happened in the Thunder T-Wolves game when the Thunder were, like, eliminated? Can you tell me off the top of your head, what happened to, like, the Hawks and Celtics series last year and who played well for the Hawks and who didn't? Like, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you personally watching can't, but, like, a lot of people can't. And I understand that the national media has that obligation to know things, but sometimes people mess up, like, or people forget things.
Yeah.
My thing with Kansas is she should have just, like, admitted to it. Like, oh, yeah, I didn't realize it. Or I forgot. Ha ha. Instead, she developed a straw man argument where she was just like, well, you can't really win with small guards. And it's like, well, that's not why we're mad at you. So I say that all to say, long-winded, that I think this is fake news.
Okay.
Also, we won't get into this episode, but Curry not playing well has been one of the best kept secrets of this NBA season. Just saying.
Say not playing well.
Not playing up to par for
Okay.
Steph Curry.
Not playing up to the standards he
still
set. Well, that's a whole that's a whole other episode where we talk about, like,
it's a whole nother, like, Steve Kerr, like, that's a whole nother discussion.
The mess. That's the worst. That feels like it could be fixed, but it's not going to happen. But that's a whole other thing. So,
right. All right. Second headline: Rozier to the Heat. Don't sleep on the culture. Kwab, real or fake news?
It's real news. Heat culture. We know for a fact, baby.
Why do I even ask you?
Heat culture. Heat culture. It's just I don't none of this matters how they're playing now. We wait till the playoffs when Butler starts trying.
I've learned my lesson, bro.
Yeah,
I don't even watch Heat regular season games, bro. I do not care about the Heat.
It doesn't matter what's going on right now. They just need to get in the play-in, and then
right.
Everybody turns up, and then it's like, oh wow, Haywood Highsmith just has 40 points on your head because you didn't scout for him, you didn't account for it. Now, right. In all seriousness, I think it was a rumor that was going on, and it was for the way the trade happened. It kind of happened quickly and earlier than what I expected it to, because a lot of these trades have happened before the trade deadline, and on paper, the game's not played on paper, but on paper, he feels like he's a good fit for the team and what they can do. I don't think he's going to put up the same numbers he was putting up when he was on the Hornets, just because his usage rate is going to be completely different. Like, when he was on the Hornets, he had the ball in his hands way more. It's not going to be the same on the Heat, but he can still be effective and he can still help them win. So we'll see when the playoffs happen and you're sweeping your favorite team. So other than that, you know what I mean? This is real news, baby. Heat culture.
Now we went to 6 games this week. Okay. I'm going to say this is real news. Don't sleep on the culture. I slept with them last year and I woke up with a headache and a sprained ankle, and I was sick for days. But on a serious note, the thing with the Heat that kind of, I guess if I were to, like, pick a weakness or one of their weaknesses, is kind of like shot creation in the half court. Jaime Jaquez has actually been a revelation. He's hurt right now, but he's been a great addition to the team. But also now you throw Rozier in there, and I don't know if he closes with the team. He closed the game. I didn't watch today's game, but he closed yesterday against the Grizzlies in a loss. Just adding that extra dynamic of like giving the ball to somebody and having them create, I think is huge. And it's one of the biggest factors come playoff time. So, they're 0-2 with him. They played a back-to-back loss to the Celtics tonight. Not a big deal, like you said, Kwab. Like I don't really judge the Heat by their record anymore. But at the end of the day, I do think they got better with the addition of Rozier, and this is the team that made the finals last year. Let's not forget. So definitely real news, as much as I hate to say. Let's move on to headline number 3. Dejounte Murray, just what the Lakers need. Real or fake news, Kwab?
Fake news? I don't like. DeJounte's really good. I think he could definitely help the team, help the Lakers. I don't know what the Lakers need, honestly. Okay, is it just me, or does it feel like anytime the Lakers make certain moves that make sense, it doesn't end up working out? Where like they signed this guy, who's like, oh, this guy's a 3 and D.
Last year the trade deadline, it worked.
It worked in that part, but like those other times where I was like, okay, they signed Malik Beasley.
Yeah,
supposed to be a 3 and D player. Didn't bring the 3 and didn't bring the defense. So it's just like,
right.
It feels like there are times where when I watch the Lakers, every game feels close. I've said, like, for a team that has AD and LeBron and whatever ancillary pieces, and some people, superstar Austin Reeves, it just feels like every single game just always feels close, and they never feels like they blow out teams or they're just down all the time and just fighting and come back. DeJounte would probably help them on defense and shot creation. I don't know if he's the answer. I personally want the Nets to trade for him, but that's probably not going to happen. That's a whole other thing. So, but
it's okay, Kwab.
It's not okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say fake news here. I don't think he's just what the Lakers need. I think the Lakers kind of need pieces plus a new kind of identity, maybe a new head coach. I think I was
going to ask that. Do you think they should get a new coach?
I'm the type of person, I always think that the fans always go to the head coach when things are going wrong. It's not always the coach's fault. Actually, most of the time, I don't think it's the coach's fault. And we're going to get into that with the Bucks in a second. I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched enough Laker basketball to know just how much of a hand Darvin Ham has in the day-to-day like failures of this team, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You have LeBron, who's in and out of the lineup because, just rest because he's older. Toying with different starting lineups the way that he has with Austin Reeves on the bench, Austin Reeves starting, D'Lo on the bench, D'Lo starting. I think that kind of gets a little bit confusing. And honestly, like, I just think that he needs better versions of the pieces that he has, right? So like Cam Reddish was starting for a while. I'm not going to rag on Cam, but like you need a better 3 and D than that. Taurean Prince wasn't playing well. Like, I just think that the pieces that they have right now aren't really playing up to par. Austin Reeves has gotten off to a slow start, so you don't have like that, I don't say third star, but you don't have that third piece to kind of create. D'Lo is hit or miss. If he's not scoring the basketball, what is he really doing? Even though I think he has made a concerted effort to play defense this year.
Yeah.
It just things seem kind of out of whack. I do think a coaching change could help in the sense where you bring someone else in who has an established identity and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the brand of basketball we're going to play, and this is how we're going to play it. Where I just feel like they're kind of searching for an identity, which is weird because last year they kind of finished with one.
Yeah.
And they seem to be a very clear team of like what they wanted to do. Now they just kind of seem like they're floating around trying to figure things out. I was at the Nets-Lakers game, and I was like, oh, 12-point lead Lakers early on. This is going to be a blowout. And then the Nets just flipped it on them and just like, it was almost like the Lakers, there was like no plan of action with anything. And that's my biggest thing. And if you listen to this podcast, I always talk about identity and the team having an identity. And if you know your identity, it's always easy to fall back on. And I just think that this Lakers team doesn't have that identity. They're kind of trying to fall back on last year's identity where that's just not who they are anymore. And you've been through trauma. You changed.
Yeah,
you changed. All right, let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. This has been the big topic of conversation for the past couple days. Doc Rivers has been hired to replace Adrian Griffin. Is this a good move? I'm going to come out and say that I don't think it moves the needle.
I just want to say real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna let you get back to your point. I saw some people that are fans of other teams in the East were excited because Doc was of the Bucks. I was like, yo.
Listen, I'll tell you this. Knicks go down 3-1 against the Bucks in the second round. I have confidence.
You're like, oh, we have a chance.
Confidence. That's all I'm saying.
We have a chance.
I'm not saying I thought Adrian Griffin was great, but I'm saying Knicks go down 3-1 against the Bucks in the second round and Adrian Griffin's the coach. That thought doesn't creep in my head.
Like, oh, we got him right where we want.
I don't know.
We got him
I think we have a chance.
Oh,
Listen, as far as X's and O's, man, and maybe you might feel differently, I don't know what Doc can change offensively. The Bucks are already freaking amazing offensively. Maybe you get Dame more involved, and there has to be a little more cohesion with the pick and roll there. But at the end of the day, they're still scoring the basketball. So what do you change defensively, right? Like, they wanted to run drop coverage with Brook Lopez. So now, yeah, you do more of that. But, like, in reality, Kwab, like, what can Doc Rivers do from an X's and O standpoint to fix this team in a way that Adrian Griffin couldn't?
I mean, the problem that they truly have is their personnel. Like, they were a defensive juggernaut, like when they had Drew Holiday and even Grayson Allen and
Middleton when he was healthy.
And Middleton when he was exactly. Player. So now you change that and you have Dame, who's amazing offensively, but he's not the same. There's not many people that are the same caliber of Drew Holiday on defense. So that kind of changes the identity of the team. For a team that is comfortable, you say they're comfortable playing drop coverage, and I've made this point before on early episodes when we're talking about like the Nets decided to play drop coverage this year, and I was like, it's not easy playing drop coverage if you don't have a guard that can chase and screen navigate on defense. Like, Drew Holiday is the best, like, to me, the best screen navigator on defense I've seen. So you can playing drop coverage is so much easier and effective because he's not gonna die on a screen. Like, he's gonna chase, he's gonna get around, he's gonna contest, and then if all fails, you still have your bigs down there to protect. You're not gonna get that same player with Dame, but you're gonna get the buzzer beater shots with Dame. You're gonna get a better offensive product with Dame. That's what you're gonna get. So, you know what? I'll say this. Does it look like they have better vibes since they let go?
Yes. Oh my God! Are you kidding me? They're doing ring around the Rozier or whatever they were doing to start the game.
So maybe that's maybe that's part of team building. That's part of winning. Like having a good locker room, having better vibes. So maybe does Doc bring
the vibes, Kwab? If Doc Rivers walks into a party that we're having, do we go, hey, it's Doc? Come on in, Doc.
He might. Look, Doc was able to get KG psycho, Perkins psycho. I mean, Paul Pierce psycho, Rondo psycho, Ray Allen, like probably. I mean, crazy. Also, like people who are talented are crazy. All to like gel and play together and win one title. Now that one title. Them winning the fact they won that one title, they're never going to let it die. They act like some of those players in that team act like it's like they won 15 of them things, and it's just
God.
never. But hey,
never has one title done more for a set of people. Like,
but again, hey,
Perkins has a job at NBA TV.
Check.
Like KG and Paul Pierce are like legends now. Well, they would have been legends, but like even more so.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers has failed upwards 4 times since then.
Crazy, but hey, winning a title is not easy. We always talk about that. It's not easy. It's not easy to make the finals. It's not easy to win in the playoffs.
They should have won 3 though.
Yeah,
they should have won 3 titles.
Hey man, I'm not saying they did, but hey,
they should have won 3.
They should have been. It should have been the case. But hey, this is what it is. So, to me, it puts a lot of pressure on everybody because now it's like. It's a win now team. I don't think Griffin.
It always was though.
It always was, but it really felt like it was a no. We're win now when Dame.
Yeah.
When the Dame trade happened. Yes, it was like they're contenders, they can win, but it was like you traded for Dame, you better win because it's one of those moves. You're like it feels like a championship or bust. Like if they didn't make the Dame trade and like they lost in the second round or something, it wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have the same effect if it happens with this team. So even though they were winning, if you watch them, it just felt like, yo, something's off. They're struggling to score. That's the other point. When we talked about this, we're like, yo, how come they're not running pick and rolls?
Right. They started to a little more. They have. But you're right. Like in the beginning, it was just, what the hell?
when the trade happened, what was our instant reaction? We're like, yo, the pick and roll game is going to be crazy because how are you going to guard that?
But Middleton was hurt early on. I mean, I think getting him back healthy is one thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like the record was bad. They're second in the East.
Apparently,
you know what I mean? Like
apparently
30
it was terrible.
Now they're 31-13, but like we're talking about them like they're 500. No, like they're better than everybody else in the league except for like 2 teams record-wise.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, to me, it's just kind of a neutral thing. Maybe you raise your sing a little bit because you have somebody who's done it before and is more respected by the players and the vibes are better.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this though: how much of an influence do you think Giannis had? Because he said he didn't have any, but I think his ass is lying. I think he's lying.
Are we buying the bit with like the innocent,
no,
like the innocent bit that like I saw a tweet. Somebody was like, somebody's gonna ask him like, yo, Giannis, he's gonna be like, oh, have you guys tried Skittles? It's like, is this new thing I tried? And just to,
Giannis,
like, bro,
Giannis is a mob boss, bro. Giannis is a mob boss. There's a Satrielli somewhere in Milwaukee right now where him and the rest of the Bucks meet up to go.
Crazy.
And they meet up in the back room and they make these deals and they have these conversations. That was a hit job. That was a hit job.
Nah, the message I got when it was like I got the notification that Griffin got fired. I get that notification. I get a text from a friend. He's like, yo, he tried to get Thanasis traded. That's why. I was like, bro. It's like, that's not why they let him go. Like,
the Milwaukee mob, bro. It's happening.
The Milwaukee mob. I don't think they're not mobbing in Milwaukee, bro. They're not mobbing.
He's a mob boss, bro.
They're not mobbing in Milwaukee.
Giannis is a mob boss, bro. I'm telling you. He's a mob boss.
Man. I just think it was like, at the end of the day, I think it was just a bad fit. And I don't know if Doc's the right fit, but I don't. At that point, like, you don't. I guess they.
Like, who else are you gonna get?
Who else are you gonna get?
Who else are you gonna bring?
Problem. Who's the other choices?
Everyone, like all like these assistant coaches are coaching with their team. Like Kenny Atkinson, for instance, is like in Golden State right now. You have all these assistant coaches who would probably be candidates. Who like, can you imagine they brought back Budenholzer? Like that would have been hilarious.
That would have been hilarious. But it's just like it's bad timing. It's to make it happen. I was like, yo, you don't have. A coach doesn't have time to instill like their offense, what they want. So now it's kind of like you're just kind of figuring out as you go along and hoping for practice time, like switch up things here and there. So I mean, like you said, you're still winning. So
we'll see. I mean, Doc, you better outpace a 30-13 record. Good luck. Oh, and win the championship. Have a good time.
And win the championship, and not go up 3-1 and lose again.
All right, Kwab, let's move on to our power rankings. This is where Kwab and I give you our top 10 teams at the moment. We do this together. I give 10, he gives 10. We meet up, we talk about it, and we agree on a consensus. So this is a consensus.
Kind of.
And also, I'm going to say this every single time. Like, this is not us like, these are the best 10 teams. Like, we had people like commenting about how low we had the Bucks or how high we had the Pelicans. And you could argue with me. You could say I'm an idiot, and my response to you is like, "Yeah, probably." Like, this is just vibes right now. Our power rankings,
it's
just vibes.
I keep telling you, like, hey, these are power rankings. I don't care. That's what I'm. Bro, this is what you get.
But we know you like lit. But I kind of do care because it's fun. It's fun to kind of keep track of this and see how wrong we've been.
Yeah, but if you feel a certain way, let us know. We might.
It'd be fun. We want to respond to the comments.
Yeah. Comment, please,
and we'll definitely debate you or have a conversation about it. But we're not for those of you who are just listening for the first time. I think we're gonna get new listeners because of the nomination. Like, guys, I promise you, like, this is not that show.
It's not. Hey, man, this disclaimer. I might put a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. It's not. It's not what you think. It's not that show, buddy.
This is not what you think. We have opinions and we feel strongly about them.
Facts.
But if they turn out to be A, wrong, or B, irrelevant, we don't care.
Yeah, like if you're like, oh man, we proved you wrong, we'd be like, yeah, it happens. People are proven wrong every day. You learn and you live.
So if we get proven wrong, or if we have a take that we have against your take and you get proven right, throw it in our face. We will laugh at it. It'll be a good time.
It'll be great.
But if you come at it with mean energy, it'll be ignored. But make fun of us. It'd be fun. Like, it'd be fun.
Exactly.
It'd be fun. All right, Kwab, let's do this. Coming at number 10 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been playing great as of late. They did catch an L against the Milwaukee Bucks the other night, but before that, they were the hottest team in the East, along with the Knicks. They're playing without, I was going to say Moses Moody, Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
They're playing without Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. A lot of people thought that when those guys went out, like, oh, this is going to be tanking season and Donovan Mitchell's going to be moved at the deadline. Oh. But they've played fantastic basketball since then. I do think there's a ceiling with this team. Right now, they're the 4 seed. I think that's their ceiling. And to be honest with you, this is not because I'm a Knicks fan. This is not because I think they're better, which I do think they're better. And this is not because the Knicks beat them last year, but I think their ceiling right now, I think they're a first-round exit. But right now, to me, playing like the 10th best team in basketball. Kwab, what say you?
I agree with that. Yeah, like you said, everything you said about them playing without Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. Everybody thought like, hey, they're definitely gonna trade Donovan Mitchell, and it hasn't been not a peep. It's been like, yo, we're actually gonna ball out and win these games. Max Strus has been the only former Heat culture player that's actually played well outside of Miami. So that's stop signing Heat players, Lakers. Stop signing Heat players and thinking you're gonna do for you what they did for them. Kendrick Nunn gave Vincent.
Bro, I forgot Gabe Vincent existed.
Yeah, like exactly.
Oh my gosh, I forgot he existed.
Yeah, don't do it. How did you forget? He was killing y'all.
I know. I have nightmares.
Yeah,
and I forgot he existed.
He was on the list. But yeah, stop signing these. Yeah, but yeah, they're playing well. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they look when they get Mobley back and when they get Darius back, because Jared Allen has been playing at an all-star level since Mobley has been out, and we don't know what's going to look like with the 2 bigs and then the 2 guards. So I'm interested to see how it looks moving forward. But yeah, we have them at number 10.
Coming in at number 9, we have the Phoenix Suns, currently the hottest team in the league, winners of 7 straight, 8 of their last 10, 26-18. This is a team that I was high on to start the year. They did struggle out the gate. Sometimes I think people forget that, like, you just need to be healthy. Like, oh, we don't have all our players, therefore we're inconsistent. Yeah, duh. Like, of course. You know what I mean? I think everyone, like, KD's a target. And I'm going to stand up for KD here. I think he's kind of like a piñata with NBA Twitter and a lot of NBA fans. The man is incredible. You had to know at some point this Suns team was going to turn it around. They're too talented just to kind of be 500 or kind of be subpar. To me, you know, when they're healthy, when everything's clicking, I do think they're fringe championship contenders. I don't know if I would pick them, but I could see them getting hot. You know, when you have Booker and KD on the floor, and then you have the ancillary pieces. Shout out Grayson Allen, who's been phenomenal for them this year.
Balling.
You know, I do think this is a scary team. I think this is a team, like, you know, every year there's a team in the playoffs, like, who's a team nobody wants to see? And all the national players like, well, I think it's the Phoenix Suns. And, like, they're that team, like what the Buffalo Bills are every year in the NFL. And then they flame out. But yeah, coming at number 9 is the Phoenix Suns. Kwab, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you wouldn't want to see them in a playoff series just because it's a lot of scoring. And Bradley Beal still coming back, and he's been playing well. Like you mentioned, Grayson Allen. To me, it's like some of they still need some of the other pieces to like step up consistently for them and just play consistent basketball. But when you have the level of like superstar of KD and Booker on your team, you're gonna have a chance every night. And whenever they play, they're gonna have a chance to win. So, like you said, they could be fringe champions, or they could be out in the first round. To me, those are like possibilities for that team.
All right, coming in at number 8, it's your New York Knicks.
Your New York Knicks,
who just beat the hell out of the Denver Nuggets since we've been on air. Really, they traded for OG Anunoby. They've had victories over the T-Wolves, over the Sixers. Both of them, I was there, by the way. The one in Madison Square and the one in Philly. Great times. So, and also against the Nuggets.
You could.
Yeah, I actually might have to post that again. Christian Winfield. Shout out to Christian Winfield. He was a guest of ours. He's now the beat writer for the Knicks for the New York Daily News. He had a video of me just starting a Let's Go Knicks chant in Philadelphia. I survived. I made it out alive.
You did.
I'm the real winner here. But my honest thoughts on the Knicks, man, I don't think they're a championship team. I do think this is kind of their ceiling, like anywhere from 6 to 8 in the power rankings for what they are right now until the trade deadline happens. You know, a lot of Knicks fans right now, they want like a huge trade. They want a big splash, like Dejounte Murray we talked about. I don't know if there's a trade out there that makes them a finals contender this year or an NBA championship contender this year. And right now, after giving up Emmanuel Quigley and RJ Barrett, you really only have like Fournier, Grimes, and like picks as your assets. And I think you have to be very careful with what you wish for as far as a trade is concerned if you're a Knicks fan here. I do understand the need to and want to get better and to want to win a championship, but I don't think that single player is out there who's going to change your trajectory to the point where it's like, oh, we can win the title now. Yeah. I do think there's a lot of players who can make your team better. Like, yeah, if Dejounte Murray's on the team, of course, like the team is better. I'm not denying that. But I think you have to be very careful. That also doesn't mean I don't think you should try to make the team better. Like, you know, I think a Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Clarkson, you know, could work out well, and then you kind of roll the dice and see what goes from there. Maybe you get lucky. But I don't think you should mortgage the future for this year. Like, this is not the year. Like, we're not the 1 seed or the 2 seed where it's like, hey, if we just got to beat the Celtics, we can make it. No, we got to leapfrog the Sixers, and we got to leapfrog the Celtics, and we got to leapfrog the Bucks still. Like, relax, Knicks fans. Like, we're great where we're at. Who knows? We might have a puncher's chance to win the East, maybe make some noise and do what the Heat did last year. Enjoy the ride. Get better at the deadline, but let's not, like, give everything away.
Do you feel like in the playoffs they can beat anybody?
Anybody in the East, yeah.
Anybody in the East, okay. So I remember
I know they beat the Nuggets, like they killed the Nuggets this year, but like I think they would have a hard time against the Nuggets. And then I honestly think they have a hard time against anybody who comes out the West. Like I think the T-Wolves give them problem if the T-Wolves came out the West. I think the Thunder would give them problems. But the East, for some reason, I said this last year. I was hoping they faced the Celtics because they did well against the Celtics last year. They haven't done well against them this year, but you know, it was before OG. So, I think they have a good shot. I think they're an Eastern Conference contender, like fringe contender. Like if you're talking about contenders, they're the last team you talk about, but you got to talk about them.
Okay. I just think with the Knicks, I just think they need like good health, like any other team needs. Like I wonder how they would look if they had Mitch Robb and Isaiah Hartenstein back, and just so because the front line is kind of thin right now. I think you guys Tibbs been playing Precious Achua a little bit more.
Jericho Sims, baby. Jericho Sims, resurgence.
Yeah, he's back. So that's good, but I still feel like you need one if you can get one of the other bigs back, it would help the team greatly. My thing with the Knicks, I've told you this before, I feel like they go as well as Julius Randle goes. I'm a fan of Brunson. I think he's tough. He's one of the best players in the league, one of the best guards in the league. He definitely should be an all-star this year. If he's not, that's criminal. But every time I watch the Knicks, when Randle plays well and it's just consistent on both sides, they're so hard to beat. And by that I mean he's as a power forward, there's not many forwards in the league that can do everything he can do in terms of his strength, his size, and his skill level. And if he's just consistent on both sides, offense and defense, and just giving the proper effort on both sides, and also if he's moving the ball, getting downhill and sharing the ball, the Knicks are very, very hard to beat just because you have a lead guard that can score from all over the court, and if you have a forward that can do all that, and you have high-level role players. That's what a lot of teams don't have. You have high-level, high-effort role players in the Dante, Josh, even OG, who bring a lot to the team. So yeah, we have them where we have them is fine. They could move up, and consistently they are playing well. They struggled against the Nets, which was amazing, but that's a whole. Hey man, we're talking about your tweet real quick. When you're talking about the Nets should relocate to Seattle because it's a failed blah blah.
I said they should relocate to Jersey first.
I said back to Jersey because it's a failed experiment. My brother. Last year, look, it took it like hey. Go on a rant real quick. This is keep all this in. Do not edit this out. Just a year ago. And there's a tweet proving it. That's a year ago when the Nets played at MSG and it was a bunch of Nets fans in there making loud noise because we were kicking y'all ass. It's just been a year, bro. Y'all gotta relax. I get it. Cool. You guys are winning now. It's fine. Y'all be acting like y'all the Lakers and we're the Clippers. We're not. We're the freaking New Jersey Nets that became the Brooklyn Nets. We're not taking over New York. It's not happening. New York, the Knicks have been a staple in New York for so many years. That orange and blue is just it's recognizable everywhere. Like I see it on your sweater right now. I already know what it is. It's fine. You guys don't have to overcompensate. All this, oh my God, we took over the building. You guys should move to the Florida swamps and play. Like, yo, relax, baby. Relax. My team is struggling, and this is what I got. Like, I tweeted out, yo, as a friend, I'm asking you to delete.
I said, let me speak my truth.
And
first of all,
go ahead.
You live in Jersey. You started
happened?
Rooting for the Nets while they were in Jersey. I thought you'd be happy that I said, hey, move back to Jersey.
Do you know how
I
hard
thought you'd be like,
first
yes,
of all,
bring them back to their roots.
It's even though it's hard as hell to get to a game in Brooklyn. I don't going to games. It was hard as hell to get to a game in Jersey. I've seen some wild stuff like from the Prudential Center and the Izod Center. Just them joints were wild. Look, and when the team played in Jersey, we made the finals back to back, and they couldn't sell it out. That's what people like. It was they couldn't sell it out. It was rough. And then,
but the vibe in the vibe at the Barclays Center too in the playoffs wasn't as good either. I mean, players complained about it. I mean, Christian Winfield complained to me personally. I met up with Christian Winfield after the Sixers-Knicks game because, just long story short, we hung out. But like, he told me that like the vibe at the Barclays was ass.
I mean,
the whole era.
It happens when the team is ass. So it happens.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to trigger you, man. I thought it'd make you happy that I said let's go back to Jersey.
How does that make you? No.
And you're right. You're right. You're right. When you're winning, of course you take over the building. If the Nets win a game in Madison Square Garden, you're going to hear Brooklyn chants. Probably.
You're going to hear Brooklyn chants.
So that's fair.
And that's not even on you. That's not. It's just I saw so many multiple tweets. Are like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. I'm like, dog. Do you know how expensive it is to pay for a game at MSG compared to paying for it at Barclays? If I'm a Knicks fan, I'm going to Barclays.
That's why I have love for the Nets. I grew up going to Nets games at the Meadowlands because like you can get them for like $5, whatever it was, plus a meal voucher. Me and my homeboy Christian, shout out to Santos, who's basically like my second father, used to take me to Nets-Knicks games. We went to Nets-Knicks playoffs in like 91, 92, whatever it was. He used to take us to Nets games all the time because it was just cheaper to go to the Meadowlands. And you get like food and like it was just bad. So I have love for the Nets because I grew up going to Meadowlands and going to more Nets games than I did Knicks games, and I was from the Bronx. So I don't got any hate towards the Nets. Let's move on. This is turning into a segment that I want to turn into.
We love
coming at number 7 is Minnesota. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't think this is so much a demotion because if we were doing shows, they could have been like 1, 2, or 3 at any given moment. We just weren't doing shows. I don't think they're playing bad. I just think that like teams like the Sixers, Clippers, Thunder, who we have in front of them are just playing better right now. And I think, to me, their ceiling was kind of a little overrated when they got off to their hot start. They were really good at when they had like 5 losses. They were like 24-5 or something like that. It's some crazy record. And they've kind of come back a little bit down to earth. They're 32-13. Cat going for history, messing up a game there. Chasing history, they catch an L against the Hornets.
That was crazy.
They're a team that it's weird because I'm going to contradict myself later on in the show when I say this, but they're just kind of a team I don't trust because I haven't really seen them do it. When I made the Gobert trade, I was just kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work. And it's kind of worked out this year. Defensively, they're going to be good. But when push comes to shove, if you're asking me, I'm taking them over like the Nuggets or Clippers. No. I even like the Suns. I don't even know if you had to give me like a true serum, like I don't think I would. But gotta respect them. Gotta respect the record. Be coming at number 7. Kwab, your thoughts?
The thing about the Wolves is that defensively, like you said, you're going to be great. I think and this was evident during the game with Cat trying to get 7 points, and they still lost to the Hornets. And
Cat was playing 21 out there, yo. He was playing 21 by himself.
He was going for that mug. He was going for that.
He was playing 21.
He was going. But even it was evident tonight when they just played the Nets. I was watching the game. They barely won, but having Mike Conley is such a saving grace for them because it feels like when games get close and like it gets, they just play like an immature team sometimes. That's the best word I can like. They just play as an immature team sometimes when it's like they're trying to go for the flash instead of the effective. Like when you could get an easier shot, a smart shot, or run a smart play. So when they have Conley, it makes a world of a difference for them. I think they're gonna be tough in the playoffs, just because, again, like we mentioned, defensively, like
it'll be tough.
it's not even Gobert, it's having Jaden McDaniels and having Anthony Edwards, who is a really good defender when he decides to lock in. So they're gonna give some teams some trouble, and they can still score sometimes to a fault, as Cat tried. But I think they should. I feel like they should be able to get out the first round, depending on matchups.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they made the Western Conference Finals. And I said what I just said, but it wouldn't surprise me if they won the West.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a shock, but you're not putting money down on it when it comes.
Yeah, to it, I just think that their hot start kind of had people overrating them just kind of a little bit. But they're still a really freaking good team. Yeah. So they come in at number 7. Coming at number 6, we don't have to talk too much about them because we just did. The Milwaukee Bucks, new head coach Doc Rivers. They're 31-13, despite what's going on with them. I think we can just leave it at that, right, Kwab?
Yeah, that's fair. We'll see. We'll see.
If you want to, this is going to be a breakout clip. So if you want to hear our thoughts on the Bucks, just go watch the full episode.
Just rewind.
Coming at number 5, it's the Philadelphia 76ers. They just caught an L against the Indiana Pacers tonight, but they've been playing really well. Joel Embiid had 70 points the other night, playing like an MVP, playing like the best player in the league, if I'm being honest with you. Tyrese Maxey has the keys in his hand, and he's driving beautifully.
It's
love Maxey. Very happy for Maxey. Again, that the Sixers, if you saw in the season preview episode, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to believe.
He's been hurt too many times. He doesn't want to fall in the same trap. It's fine. It's actually hilarious. I was going to ask you this about the Knicks, but you actually answered it beforehand. But do you think there's a move the Sixers could make that would kind of elevate them even more into that trajectory of like maybe coming out the East, maybe winning a championship right now?
Yeah, I think they can use a 3-and-D type player. I think a lot of teams, I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? These trade deadlines is always like, well, who can they use? And it's like 3-and-D, a rim protector, or someone who can create off the dribble. Like, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And for me, I think you can say that about the Sixers for sure. But I wouldn't know specifically. It's funny because like we had a conversation off air beforehand about Quentin Grimes, who's like one of my favorite Knicks. And I think he would be fucking dope on the Sixers, but like the Knicks and Sixers aren't going to try.
Should definitely not give up Quentin Grimes to the Sixers. I don't like.
That's not happening. But like someone like that,
it's going to get rid of him. Take him to the West or something, please.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to like Embiid and Maxey. Embiid has underperformed in the playoffs as opposed to like how he performs in the regular season. But to me, I think Maxey's kind of the X factor there because you're the point guard, you're leading the team. I think the addition of Pat Bev has like installed some grit in them, if I'm being honest with you. I think Kelly Oubre's been a nice addition. So,
Batum,
I think they're good.
Been great
I'm not getting too excited, man. I'm not getting too excited because I've been burned by them in the past. Coming at number 4, it's the Los Angeles Clippers, man. And this is a very polarizing team from the beginning of the season. We didn't know where to have them. We got into a fight first power rankings about where we had them. Since then, James Harden has been acquired. Kwab, what do you think of this Clippers team, man? Are they contenders? Do you think 4 is where they should be?
I think 4 is good. Again, with that team, it comes with like if everybody's healthy, and the way they're playing now, after they made the trade, they had the 5-game losing streak or whatever it was, and people were
they moved Russ to the bench, and that's not me knocking Russ, but that's just like you kind of balance things with lineups.
Yep,
Russ is going to be fine, but like you just couldn't play those two at the same time.
It was too much. It was too much. It's so much better now. Russ comes off the bench and he's playing. I mean, he's been playing well all season. Even before the trade, he was playing well for them. So him off the bench is just like it's great because he comes in, brings energy. Kawhi's been Kawhi. He's been playing. He's played most of the games. Paul George is playing well. Norman Powell is like been shooting the crap out the ball. I saw a stat like he's shooting like 70% from like the corner, from the right corner or something like it's ridiculous. And
the fact that if Philly would have got him in the trade, I would be so high on Philly right now. When they didn't get him, I was like, I don't know.
I was surprised. I was surprised
Yeah.
like the return, but hey, like they kept
To me, that's the difference between me liking Philadelphia over the Clippers. And like, I'll be
they're
honest
right
with you,
there.
it's Norman Powell right
Yeah,
now.
like you
Yeah.
said, the 3-and-D play, like the
Yeah.
the
No, but
exemplary
Norman's
role
a
player.
scorer too. Like, he can get you a bucket.
Yeah, he can get your bucket. He gets to the line too a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your bigs like I guess when they picked up Daniel Tice when Plumlee went down, he's been great
Yeah.
for them. And now I think is Zoo down? Is Zoo hurt? I'm not sure, but
Yeah. He's been down.
yeah, it feels like they have everything on their roster right now. So you could make the case they should be one of the teams that's like vying to get out the West. So we'll see.
All right, coming in number 3, it's the OKC Thunder with a 31-13 record. Holy crap. The Thunder coming in at number 3. These guys are young. I think, you have your MVP candidate in SGA. Chet has been better than advertised, in my opinion. I think he's better than I thought he'd be, like, this early on. Jalen Williams is a stud.
Crazy.
This team, man, I mean, they have the creator, they have the big man, they have 3-and-D, they have the shooting guard, they have the bench, they have, like, Giddey, who's like a jack of all trades. This team is good. They're young. I mean, the only argument against them is like inexperience, which is like my least favorite argument in basketball. But coming at number 3 in the regular season, I think this is exactly where they should be.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna make a trade for like another piece in terms of size, just to give them a little bit more size, because it feels like they're so small when Chet is on the bench. I think when we did our season preview, you had Dagnall as your possible coach of the year. And you had SGA as. Did you have him as the MVP or did you have him as a clutch player?
I had him as clutch player.
Yeah, you had him as clutch player. So pretty props to you. I don't remember what I have. Don't worry about it. Nobody go check. So
we won't look it up.
Well, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Just look at Josh's parts. Don't look at mine. Yeah, they've been playing great. They're fun to watch. They might be a piece away with all this talent they have on the roster right now. They have all these draft assets too, just in the stash, like that they could make a move for. And they have a couple of young players that are like on the bench that might do some work for other teams. Like nobody's talking about like Trey Mann, who's like anytime he plays, he puts up like
Trey Mann doesn't get playing time. Trey Mann could start on some teams.
Yes, I'm saying he puts up like a 20 ball, but like they have so many solid good players that like do like Isaiah Joe. First of all, Isaiah Joe was on the Sixers and would be like one of the most perfect players to be on the Sixers because he can hit, he catches and shoots, and I like where we have them. They're gonna be so fun, and I can't wait for the playoffs because I feel like they're gonna be so fun in the playoffs. They're such a fun team to watch. I wonder if they're gonna make a move before the trade deadline. I feel like they should, but even if they don't, they're still gonna be competitive in the playoffs.
All right, coming at number 2, we can breeze through these because it's the same old song. Denver Nuggets. To me, record doesn't really matter. I mean, they're the champions. You know what they can do when they turn it on. I'm not saying they're coasting through the regular season, but they're just kind of, it's like practice. If I'm being honest with you, they're one of the teams where they know where they're going to be in the postseason and who they're going to be facing, and it's just kind of like, let's just tune up. So when they lose, it's not a big deal. I'm ecstatic as a Knicks fan because of what happened tonight, but I also take with a grain of salt knowing that, like, all right, well, it's not like the Nuggets were in playoff mode or like, maybe just calling them on a night. So to me, they're the second best team in basketball. And Kwab, you agree?
Yep, definitely agree. They're still like, of course they missed some of the bench pieces they have last year with like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, but they're still good. Like you said, I agree with everything you said. They're still, it feels like practice, and they're gonna be. They might still come out the West regardless of how they're playing right now.
Coming in at number 1, it's the Boston Celtics. 36-10 record. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. They're the best team in the league. I still have some like reservations about their late game offense because it just turns into like stand around and Jason Tatum dribbling on the perimeter or taking step back threes, or they kind of fall in love with the long jump shot and without ball movement, which is weird because they move the ball really well before that. But all in all, to me, they're the best team in the league, playing like the best team. And that is why they're number 1. Kwab, what say you?
Yeah, they're starting 5 or 6. They just all fit well, perfectly together, defensively and offensively. My biggest, like you said, and I have the same gripe or knock on them is that in a close game when it's like 10 seconds, whatever left. It just feels like, well, here comes another tough shot by Jason Tatum that's probably not going to go in.
And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, that's the thing about, like, it doesn't have to be. Like, you have Jalen Brown who can get by anyone he wants. You have Jason Tatum who can get by anyone he wants. I mean, Derek White's having a hell of a season. KP, like, pick and pop options. Like, there's so many options offensively you have that you don't have to resort to isolation, step back three basketball. And you would think that like after 2 years of this, 3, whatever it's been, that they like, oh, okay. Like you know that meme of like Drake showing, I don't know who it is, but like
he's like, oh, this is the yeah.
Yes, like that. You would think they would do that by now, but they haven't. But that's my only concern with them.
Yeah, that's my only concern, which is easily fixable. It's just, and also the whole, like, a close game with Zula not calling timeout, then it's weird. Dude, call the fucking timeout.
Have him, Missoula. Use him.
Call the timeout. Like, get a play in there. So I get you want the defense to be caught off guard. Like, just call the timeout, brother. Like, please. Like, it's so weird, man.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Dime. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. If you want, you can follow Dime on Twitter and Instagram or on TikTok at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes. If you do follow us on social media, please vote for us for Best Basketball Podcast on the Sports Podcast Awards. We're going to be back more often. We hate that we left you for that long. We missed you. I hope you missed us too. We'll catch you next week for another episode of The Dime.